Today we have a 2005 Lexus RX330. We'll be replacing the front strut. So first thing we're going to do with the 19 and the wheel lock here, we're going to remove the wheel. Okay guys, so now the wheel's removed, we expose the strut. So pretty much now we're just going to free everything up on here. So I'm going to remove the brake line here, number 12. Just pull this out of the way. I'm going to do a sway bar link, number 17. Just zap it out. And then I like to get the ABS sensor out the way as well, just because we're going to be manipulating this a little bit to free this, to get this out. So with the number 10, we're going to remove this bolt, pull it out, and throw it inside as well. So I'm going to get those out the way, and then we will get to the next step of removing these two bolts here. Now that the strut is freed up from all this knick-knack stuff here, our ABS sensor is to the side, the number 22 socketed wrench, we're going to remove these two bolts and nuts here, which will then free it up down here for us to go up top and remove it from the body. Okay guys, excuse the wind noise, it's really hot, so the fan's right behind me, but now that these two bolts are removed, everything on the bottom here is pretty much freed up from the strut itself. So now we're going to come up top into the engine bay. We're gonna open this cover on the cowl here, just a little, a little pry bar. Plastic ones work best, but I didn't feel like it before. So now up here you'll see the three nuts, that hold the strut here. With the number 14, we're gonna remove these three and let it drop, and then just basically pull it out. Okay guys, so remove those three nuts, come down, kind of push downward, or really just free it up from here. It can sit on the axle, it's fine. Sorry, I'm gonna do this with one hand. I'm gonna push it over. Sorry. Like so. Oops, sorry about that. And just let it come out this way, pulling it towards out. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this replace, and we'll install. So I removed that strut, but I want to give you all an FYI. When it comes to this axle, if you remove it the way I do, it will possibly come out of where it goes inside of here. So the best thing to do is kind of just make sure it goes back in and push this back to relieve the stress. It will hold, like you can see here, it's holding here, and it's all the way in. So I'm just gonna let it sit like that. You can also just put a bungee cord on here to hold it in there, just to make sure. When we reinstall it, pretty much this in this position is fine. Just kind of fell forward because I yanked it with one hand. But normally when I do two hands, it pretty much just stays like this, and we can just access or swing the strut into that way and upward. So let it sit like this, just prevent damage to the axle itself, or letting the boot break. So let me go ahead and get that strut replaced, and then we'll install it. Now before I actually replace this with our new shock absorber there, I do want to mention that with the strut mount, it only goes in one way. So as you can see, there's arrows here as well as a dot here that show you that this is the location that needs to be pointed outwards, basically lined up with this here. So pretty much it's going to go in this direction, the two studs facing outward towards the wheel, and then the one in the back towards the engine bay, I guess you could say. So let me get this replaced. So I have my new shock absorber installed on my strut here. This is basically the way we're going to install it. Just kind of give y'all a view before I do so. We basically put it inward, and then now we're just going to lift this up and place it right in there. As you can see, this is the marking I said earlier, facing outward, and this one is going to go here. Also, remember what I said about the axle. Be sure that it's fully in there, or else you're going to have a hard time installing this to the strut. So right now I might be putting a little strain, so I'm going to have to push it back in, but it's because I'm resting it on it. But let me go ahead and put this in, and I'm going to start trying to push this back into the housing on the axle there, and get this installed. So once I get this up there, I'm basically just going to hold it and put the nuts in, just let it rest, and then we'll come down here and just kind of put everything together without tightening it, just kind of putting all of our bolts in, making sure everything lines up correctly, and then tightening everything down. So I have my three nuts just kind of placed on top, not tightened down, just threaded in. I've already pushed in the axle a little bit, but as you can see here, when I installed this onto the coil here, it shifted a little bit. What you can actually do is rotate it. So even if you don't put that in the correct position, you can still manipulate it down here. However, if you really just want to pop it straight in, just keep that in mind. But it's not too hard to move. I've had issues in the past where some of them are super stiff, where I had to get a pipe wrench to grab it right here to move it, but right now it's easy. So So I'm gonna go ahead and put these bolts here just to place them in, and we'll tighten up top first and then come back down. Okay, so my strut is now set into place. You can see stationary, blah, blah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tighten the top here first. Now in the past, I've had issues where I've actually broken the stud. So I've learned my lesson from that, and now I really just torque these down. This gets torqued to 59 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna torque these 3 down first, and then we're gonna go to the bottom and tighten that up. Okay, so I've torqued those down, 59 foot-pounds. Gonna pop this back into place. Done there. Now we're back down here. We're gonna tighten these last 2 bolts on the strut here. Now, normally I usually just hit these with an impact, and that usually does the job. However, when I was trying to remove it, my impact would not budge. I had to use a giant breaker bar. So because of that reason, just to be safe, I'm gonna go ahead and just torque these down. The torque on this is 170 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that, and then we can finish up all this here. All right, guys, so pretty much everything closed up here. I went ahead and jumped the gun, just put these 2 things on, as well as the ABS sensor right here. So 3 more bolts, 17, 12, 10, and 19s here. So pretty much we're all done with the strut, and that takes care of it. We're just gonna throw the wheel back on and we're done. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, more videos to come.